Alright, today I'm going to make a alcohol stove and see what happens when you fill it with kerosene instead of alcohol. First off, let's make the stove. Got my hole punch here and a can. And let's make a stove. Now, when I did the gasoline before, it was actually horrible. Now the thing worked, it could boil water, right? But the problem was, gasoline is really smelly. And it gets all into everything you have, and it stinks it up for quite a while. So I really don't recommend anyone ever using gasoline as a fuel unless you have nothing else you can do. And it burns really weird because gasoline has all kinds of additives, detergents, who knows. So it burned a ton of gunk onto my pot. Basically, it's going to ruin your pot with all the garbage. Now, kerosene is a much cleaner fuel. So, I suspect what will happen is that it's going to be not as smelly, not as dirty as gasoline. Now, I don't know if I'm going to do diesel. I might do diesel too, but I'm going to just burn the kerosene and see what happens. You know, I also have a Primus stove, so I think I'll light that up just so you can see how much nicer an actual kerosene stove is. So here's my alcohol stove. So we're going to use that with kerosene. Now I'm going to go outside so I don't set my house on fire. If you're watching this, you already know how to use an alcohol stove. But I think I'll start with that just because you'll see how nicely it burns, and I want to do the kerosene last because once I do the kerosene, I think the kerosene is going to ruin my pot. For alcohol, it's quite simple. You pour in alcohol, you light it, and now there's a fire, and you put your pot on. That's alcohol. Very easy. Now I'm going to show you the actual Primus style stove. So for this one, you have to get it hot first, and the reason is because that's how you vaporize the fuel. Is the way you vaporize the fuel is you get this stuff here hot, and that will vaporize it. So put a little alcohol in. Alright, that's burning. You let that burn off. I mean, you could use something else there, but alcohol is really, really wonderful how clean it burns. So my pot didn't, when on the alcohol flavor, didn't get any soot on it at all. It was fine. I think it might be ready to, might be hot enough right now. And you can adjust the flame by how many pumps you put in. And now, that is going to be a nice quick boil. So that's kerosene the right way with a priming stove. Now to turn it off, you release the pressure. Now we're here for the real test. Oh my God. So that didn't ruin my bottom of my pot at all either. Now it's time for kerosene. Oh goodness. I'm pretty sure this pot is going to get ruined and it's going to be smoky, and we'll see. There we go. Got the kerosene burning. And it's out. Let that heat up a little bit first. Oh, smoky. It's quite sooty, quite smoky. This is way better than gasoline, let me tell you. Gasoline, the problem with gasoline is that it's got all these different length hydrocarbons. So the light stuff burns off, and you get a huge flame, then the tar stuff starts to burn, so the flame's all over the place. Kerosene, it's a steady flame. So you have to use kerosene or gasoline. Kerosene's way better. It's so smoky though, that's the problem. I don't think it's going to ruin my pot too bad though. I think I should have put more air holes, because I'm used to alcohol stoves where the never goes out. This one went out. And a little bit windy today. Not too much though. Still going. There's a lot more heat in kerosene than alcohol. So the whole point of wanting to use kerosene is you have to use half as many bottles. But you can see how smelly it is just from the smoke coming up. It's not an attractive fuel to use. It does not burn clean. Yeah, see all that smoke? Alright, I'm tired of running this. So let's go ahead and put the fire out. Whoa. Ugh. Smelly. Look at that soot. That's not too bad. Like when I did gasoline, there was just a ton of tar on this thing. And kerosene, yeah, you have soot, but it hasn't ruined your pot entirely. So I can see using kerosene, but the reason you want an alcohol stove is, I think, because it's just much nicer, it smells nicer, it's not as much energy. So if you do use kerosene, make sure put in half as much. And it's harder to put out a kerosene fire than an alcohol fire. So it rained really, really heavy the past couple weeks, so everything around in the outdoors is super wet, so there's nothing was going to catch on fire today. But I can see if you fill your alcohol stove with too much kerosene, you can catch something on fire, so be careful of that, I think. But this thing here, that's amazing. That can really, you've got control over the flame. You want to simmer or boil or whatever, and it's efficient and it doesn't stink. Using an alcohol stove is possible with kerosene, but I think it's just way nicer to use alcohol. Yeah, you're going to use twice as much fuel, but it's so smelly using the kerosene. And if you're backpacking ultralight, do you really want to put this in your knapsack? I don't want to put that in my knapsack.